What is good, guys? My name is Kane. This is a custom Chronicles episode where I'm going to be going into a very raw deck, but it is my casual. It's what I call a casual competitive deck. It's a deck meant for casual players that is meant for a tournament setting within those decks where you're just trying to get a win condition. So we're going to be going over, and this will also be raw, so don't expect the cards to be organized. It's kind of just meant to be something where I show my enjoyment of a deck. So we're going to start out with one of my favorite discard decks ever, Dark World. So we're going to go off and show some of the monsters. So the monster here is Beige. All these cards here I'll be showing that are monsters from the Dark World all have effects based on being discarded. So this one's special summons. Next up we have Snow, which allows us to add a Dark World monster from deck to hand. Then we play Veil of Darkness, which allows us to, during the draw phase, if we draw a dark monster, we can reveal it, send a monster from hand to grave, send the monster, or send them to the grave, and draw another one. Then we have Silva, special summon to our side of the field. Now, these guys do have an effect where they're discarded by an opponent's card effect, but you're not going to see that a lot. But I'll go over it anyway. So, in order to explain, I'm going to have to pull it towards my end. If this card is discarded from hand to the graveyard by a card effect, special summon to your side of the field. If the card is discarded by your opponent's card effect, they return 2 cards to the bottom of their deck in any order. Then we have the boss monster, Grapha. Grapha can be special summoned by returning a Dark World from hand to hand from hand or grave. He also allows us to, if he was also look at a random card in our opponent's hand and special summon it, if it's a monster, if he's discarded by an opponent's card effect. Then we play 1 copy Deck Devastation Virus to keep control. 1 drag down into the grave, discards, and then lets us draw a card. Cerule is our next one. Cerule is now all these Dark Lords are Dark World monsters. I don't know why I said Dark Lord. Are based on different types of colors. So Cerulean here. Sorry, I had to yawn. If this card is discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, special summon it to your side of the graveyard, to your side of the field, and face up defense position. And if it's summoned to your opponent's side of the field, your opponent must discard a card. We want to make this get sent to the grave by our traps that make our opponent discard a random card for us. And if they choose this card, it lets us then discard another. We want to have as many discards as we can. Then we have a Sangan for special summoning. Or technically hand adding. Then we have Gateway to Dark World. This allows us to special summon the rest of that turn. We can only set. Now, this is a card I found playing Duel Links, and I think is great, especially for Dark World. It is fine. It's a simple trap with only 1 effect. Discard 2 cards, which is actually great for this deck. It's a free 2 effects. Next, we have Rainbow. If this card is discarded by an opponent's card effect, we can special summon it from the graveyard and destroy all monsters or destroy all spell and traps. So this can be a Raigeki or it can be a Harpy's Feather Duster if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect. Then we have Charge into a Dark World, which is a special summon of a level 4 or lower Dark Fiend monster at the cost of discarding, which we want to usually use that to summon Snow. Then we have Gold, who's the Woo Lord of Dark World. If he's discarded from hand to grave by a card effect, I can target up to 2 cards my opponent's controls and destroy them after special summoning this card. Basically, he's meant to, again, a lot of these bigger monsters are reliant on our opponent discarding them. So we have traps to do that. Now, I do like this archetype as well because they work perfectly, and there is actually a name for this combo deck. It's called Danger Dark World. We play Danger Chupacabra because it's a level 4 fiend. You can reveal him. Your opponent then randomly selects a card from your hand. If it was this card, its effect is to summon another Kaiju from grave. Or not Kaiju, sorry. It's meant to summon another danger monster. But if it's not, it's summoned to the field. You get to draw a card. Next up, we have Gren, which allows us to, when it's discarded, play a single, if it's an MST. We have Terraforming for our field spell. We have Allure of Darkness. Lets us banish 2 cards, or draw 2 cards, banish the dark monster. We have Dark World Dealings, which lets us draw a card, then discard a card. Another Gateway to Dark World. Brow Huntsman, if this is discarded, sent to the graveyard by discardment, it lets us draw a card. Plus another one if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect. Then we have Dark Eruption, which allows us to search out a level 4 or lower, or technically 1500 or less attack monster. Add it to our hand if it's a dark monster. Dark Deal. We play 3 copies of this. Dark Deal allows us to change the effect of a normal spell card to your opponent. Discards 1 random card. We then play 1 copy of. We play a few copies of Forces of Darkness, which allows us to then add 2 Dark World monsters from grave to hand. Really good at keeping us recurred. Rising Energy, another discard card to power up and purely boost the attack stat. We have another copy of Charge of Dark World, Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This card allows us to tribute a dark monster with 2,500 or more attack and choose spell cards or trap cards. Check your opponent's hand. All spell and trap cards they control. Let's see. Yeah, target all cards they draw until the end of their 3rd turn and destroy all cards of the chosen type. This is great for us to handle traps most of the time. We have Battle Fader, which allows us to then special summon and do a free battle shield. Dark Bribe. Our opponent draws a card when you negate an effect. You just need to counter trap. Now we have our field spell, Gates to a Dark World. All Fiend type monsters gain 300 attack and defense. We could banish a Fiend type from graveyard, discard a monster, draw a card. Now we have our Now we have our MST here. That's a discard version of Dark World Lightning. Now we do play a Kaiju in here. I think Kaijus are great to add to a deck for kind of self-coverage. The one we're going to be going over here is Radiant the Multidimensional. He's a Fiend monster. He is perfect for this deck. He is a Fiend monster. He is high level. Can really help us out. Next, we play Transmigration Prophecy. Lets us target 2 cards in the grave, shuffle them in the deck. Our opponent, now we have Dark Scheme. Our opponent can discard a card to activate this to negate this effect, but either way, it lets us discard 2 cards, then draw 2. It's a good hand reset. It also lets us get some more forces. We have some more Forces of Darkness, 2 more copies, another copy of Gren, another copy of Charge, another Lure of Darkness. Then we have 1 more Dark Deal, 1 Lightning Vortex, discard a card, it's a Raigeki, and our last monster, another copy of Silva. And with that, guys, that was the first half of this casual run. Next thing I wanted to go over while I was here is actually kind of go over a little core I've been working on that you guys might find entertaining. And this is my Dino construction deck. Now, this deck is not finished, but it is something that you guys might be able to use to start out your own cards. So we have Secret Blast. This card lets us do effect damage. We have Scrap Raptor, Dino Destruction. I mean, it's not bad. We have Lost World. Lost World's going to let us get tokens on the field, and our opponent can't target anything for effects except tokens. Then we have 2 copies of Painful Decision. Lets us send a level 4 or lower normal monster from deck to grave, add a same one from deck to hand. Big Evolution Pill. Dino card that lets us tribute a dinosaur in order to play the effects of other ones. Scapegoat for token generation to make sure we can't be targeted for anything. We have Gilosaur. We have Baby Ceratosaurus. This card's destroyed. Special summon a level 4 or lower from the deck. That is a dinosaur. Gilosaurus, special summon it from hand. Our opponent can summon from grave. We usually summon this going first. Ultimate Tyranno can attack all cards our opponent controls once each. And let's see. It also makes it so other dinosaur monsters we control cannot attack. Next up, we're going to have Miracle Jurassic Egg. This card can gain counters, summon a dinosaur whose level is equal. Foolish Burial mills a card to grave. We're always going to need that. We then play 2 copies of Megalo Smasher X. Might find a third in here. Chewbone, Flip, Token Generator. Survival's End, destroys many normal monsters in the field. Special summon as many level 4 or lower dinosaur type monsters equal to them. Destroy them during the end phase. We can also banish it from grave to do a mutual destruction. We have Fossil Dig, which is the main searcher. Superconductor Tyranno at the cost of the battle phase, at cost of being able to attack. We can inflict 1,000 damage. Another Fossil Dig, our boss monster, which I'll go over in a second. Fossil Excavation, basically our monster reborn by discarding a card. Now we also do have some extra deck monsters here. We have Evolzar Dolka and Evolzar Logia. These require 2 level 4 lower dino monsters. This one allows you to, when a monster be normal special summon or a trap card be activated, it's basically negation by detaching materials. When an effect monster, and this one is for effect monsters. These are our control cards. We also have Petite Pteranodon. Does the same thing as Baby Ceratosaurus, but it can do higher levels than 4, but they cannot attack this turn. Then we have Unexpected Die, normal summon, as long as we control no monsters. We then have another copy of Fossil Excavation, 1 copy of 1 for 1. This is going to let us send a card from hand to grave. Let us send a monster from our hand to grave to then special summon a level 1 from deck. We'll get into what that is later. We have a Rescue Rabbit. Banish this card from the field. Special summon 2 normal monsters. We then have 2 copies of our semi-boss monster, Overtex Coatless. Overtex requires us to, and I will read this word for word, it must be special summoned by shuffling 5 banished dinosaur monsters into the main deck. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can destroy a dinosaur monster in your hand, and emphasis on the fact that it's destroyed, or face up on the field, negate and destroy that card. Then we have 2 copies here for our 1-for-1 summon. Animadorned Archosaur. They're going to allow us, when they're normal special summoned, destroy a dinosaur monster in hand or face up field. Then add 1, accept itself, then add 1 reptile, sea serpent, or winged beast monster with the same name, or 1 evolution pill. We'll get into what that evolution pill is in a little bit. We then have another Ojama Trio, 1 Rivalry of Warlords, 1 Pinpoint Guard, level 4. Let's summon a level 4 lower monster, cannot destroy a battle, it's a good shield. Miscellaneous Source. This card is limited to 1 because of its powerful effect. It allows us to discard it to make sure all dinosaur monsters can't be affected by card effects this turn. It also allows us to banish it and a bunch of other dinosaurs from grave to equal and summon a monster from deck. Special summon it, a monster from deck, as long as its level is equal to the number of dinosaurs banished. We have another copy of babies, 2 more copies of Baby Sarasaurus, 1 copy of Survival of the Fittest, which allows us to use the abilities, and it gives us 1,000 attack, allows us to do another battle phase. We have our last copy of Baby Sarasaurus and Fossil Dig. Now we're going to go into the boss monster here. This card, and I quote, requires us to be banishing 2 dinosaur monsters from the grave. We can destroy a dinosaur monster on hand, field, or hand or field. Make all opponents' cards that can't be turned face down, and they cannot change position. Then when he can also attack all monsters our opponent controls once each, or at least attack all face down ones. And if he attacks a face down, he inflicts 1,000 damage and instantly destroys them. He is our big boss. He is meant to come on the field and absolutely just hammer into the opponent and deal a bunch of damage. But with that, guys, that is the dinosaur deck. I hope you guys like this little mini engine. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Take care.